Hello everyone and welcome back to A Kupel Books. This is Couple as always. Today we're having the biggest debate of our lives. This is the debate to end all debates, and that is going to be audiobooks versus books. Which is real, which isn't real? Are either real? What do we do? I don't know. Today we're going to be having this conversation. It's a discussion. I would like to have this conversation with you guys, so be sure to comment down below what are your guys' thoughts and opinions on the matter. Just so we are aware, I keep getting sidetracked and I keep losing my train of thought, so this is definitely the first time we're filming this video. Definitely. For this video, I read a few academic journals and I read a few peer-reviewed articles and I read some opinion pieces, and I kind of put them all into my brain, and then I also put in my personal opinions into my brain, and now here I am and I'm having a conversation with you guys. We're having this discussion. I would like to talk about it. But before we begin, I would just like to stipulate that I have included all of the articles and journals that I might or might not reference or pull data from randomly without citing the source, but all of the information can be found down below in the description box down below. So if you guys are interested in reading some really dry peer-reviewed articles or definitely more juicy opinion pieces, be sure to check out the description box. But with that being said, let us get started into the conversation. So should we listen to an audiobook or should we read a physical book or an ebook? That is the epic question going on here. Does one count? Does one not count? To get us started on this, I would like to just basically list off the pros of audiobooks. And I think that we can all agree on most of these pros. Pro number one, audiobooks allow you to listen anywhere. How often are we driving or doing the dishes or, just like spending a few extra 30 minutes in the shower because you just don't want to get your day started, and listening to an audiobook is the perfect alternative. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have my books waterproofed, and I also can't read while driving at the same time. Do not do that. That is not safe. It's just a means of opportunity. It is so much easier to be able to be consuming as many books as I want to be consuming because I have the audiobook alternative. Because I'm able to always be listening, I can always be consuming my books when I'm bored and I don't want to be carrying around a book, or where I'm in a situation where reading a physical book is deadly. So it's just better for the alternative. The second reason that audiobooks are better, or at least a very decent alternative, is the fact that they're very accessible. So I think we can all say that you can read on your phone. You can get the Kindle app on your phone and download it and read on your phone. But there's a simple matter of the fact that not everyone likes reading on your phone. Not everyone is a big Kindle or phone reader. A lot of people just like physical books. I'm a primarily physical books guy, so I'm totally in that camp with y'all. But I do think that audiobooks provide that nice alternative. If you're a big physical book reader and you just don't have the time to carry around the 17 books tall TBR pile, then sometimes having an audiobook is nice to have just as an alternative to when you're out on the town. Maybe you were sitting in your doctor's office bored out of your mind and you didn't bring your book with you because you just couldn't choose between Brandon Sanderson's 1,200 page behemoth or a tiny little book. So you bring an audiobook. Boom, done. You have a book for you, ready to go. So it's great for that. It provides means of transportation that are far less burdening than actually carrying a physical book everywhere, just if possible that there's a moment to read. So those are the two reasons I really love audiobooks, to be honest with you. Those are the two reasons. Now moving into books. What do I really love about books? Books are great for a few things. One, I really enjoy physically reading. Holding the book is a very physical experience, and I really immensely enjoy it. There's nothing like holding a book and reading it. There's nothing like seeing where you are in a book and feeling you progress yourself through the story as you see your receipts, bookmarks, as you see your bookmarks travel across the pages. As well, if you are a big book collector, it's lovely having lots of books to put on your shelves. It's very attractive, it's appealing, I love it. I'm obsessed with having books on my shelves at all times. These are really good things about books. As well, with all that, there is the simple fact that there's nothing like going to a bookstop. You know what I mean? A bookstore. Spending hours perusing for a physical book. It's not the same experience perusing on the internet to buy books on Amazon or buy a Kindle book or buy an audiobook. It's just not the same. There's something about going to a physical store and buying a physical book that cannot be matched by any other service out there. And these are the reasons I really love my physical books, okay? So now the question is what is better than the other? In terms of like the professionals, as in terms of like the actual academics on the matter, it would seem to be the fact that comprehension-wise, you are going to get a lot less out of an audiobook. You are just going to understand more when it comes to physical books, which is an understandable approach to take. Because I, probably like most of you guys, when I read a book and I get distracted by squirrel, light, squirrel, dog, I can just go back to reading where I was, right? Like you just stop reading, you look at the squirrel or the light, and then you go back to reading. Now, if you are listening to an audiobook and you're washing your dishes and you drop the pan on your toe, you're probably a little too distracted to pause your audiobook before dealing with the toe issue. Normally, in those situations, I just kind of lose my place in the book for a second, plug back in my headphones, and then I just pick up the story where I'm at. So I think we miss a lot of moments by getting distracted or wandering thoughts or hands on toes situation. I think that those create a lot of situations where you just are more, your thoughts wander a little bit more. So I think you obtain less information from an actual audiobook than you would a physical book just due to that, and that would be substantiated by the peer-reviewed articles. Another point that I would like to make is the fact of, once again, access. Like I said before, audiobooks are really accessible, and books, while they're really accessible and there's a lot of bookstores in the world, it is not nearly as accessible as audiobooks. Most people in the world, or I don't know most, this part I'm talking not so substantially, but a lot of people have got smartphones, especially in developed countries. A lot of people have smartphones, a lot of people can download the Audible app or Kobo or any of the other systems out there and have a book ready to go on Audible. A lot of people who are book readers may have an issue between an e-reader or a physical book, and so therefore you're going to have that distinction. And maybe if you are more like me, you don't really love the ebooks, and so you'd rather have a physical book than buy an ebook. And therefore you end up in this conundrum where it's like, if I'm going to put a book on my phone, would I rather get an ebook or an audiobook? For me, it's usually audiobooks, so usually I get the audiobooks, right? So I think that there is a fact that there's a more ease of access to audiobooks than there are to physical books. Then I also think that there's another point that needs to be made that's definitely much more in the audiobooks favor, but pronunciation. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel that when I'm reading a book, I get distracted, and as you guys know, I can't pronounce names to save my life. Like, if you guys give me like a 13-character last name and ask me to pronounce it, it's not going to happen. I can't pronounce to save my life. I don't know what it is. I just can't say any words past like 4-letter words. So I have a lot of issues with like knowing what this is saying, in the sense that I can't like necessarily pronounce it like everyone else does, right? Like, so listening to an audiobook makes the experience much more fruitful because you know how things are pronounced, you know how things sound, and it makes it easier, in my personal opinion, to talk about the story afterwards. When I read a book and I've been pronouncing it the wrong way the whole time, I get on BookTube and I start talking to somebody, or I hear someone say something and I'm like, who are they talking about? That character's never been in this book. Who is this person? And then I realize I just been misreading the name this entire time, and it's actually pronounced that way. So that's another great reason for audiobooks, is that they really help pronunciation. And then I think the last thing I have to say between audiobooks and physical books, which is going to also go into audiobooks' favor, is the fact that some books are better audiobooks and some books are better physical books. And I think that's just a matter of fact. There are books out there that are definitely written not for like the audio platform. And I think that is a surefire thing. Like, I have read books that really are very difficult to read and don't make as much sense, because they are really not geared towards the audio platform. Then I've read books that were either specifically designed for the audio platform or are just great companion pieces. If I wanted to think of examples, Tales from the Gas Station by Jack Townsend, that is a great audiobook because it was originally told with the fact that it was on a podcast in mind. Like, when the guy originally wrote the story, it eventually got onto a podcast platform, and then it evolved into what it is today. And so I think that there is a fact of the matter that it is a great, great audiobook because of the writer, whether it be the writer's intent or just the writer's style. It makes a very good audiobook. But then when I read like some of my lit RPG books or other books, or for example, non-fun books such as like my textbooks or other academic books, I can't listen to those. It just wouldn't make sense to me. It would be so much more difficult to listen to an article, a peer-reviewed journal article, than it would be to listen to Tales from the Gas Station. You know what I'm saying? And even my lit RPG books that I like to listen to on audiobooks, it's not as easy or as conducive. You know what I'm saying here, people? So I think the matter is that some books are better and some books are worse, and when it comes to audio versus physical reading. So with that all being said, now it's time to officially weigh in on the matter. How, with all my opinions just laid out there on the table, how do I feel about this? How do you guys feel about this? I think the fact of the matter is that anyone out there who says that audiobooks are not real books is dropped. Okay, just dropped. Like, we don't need that negativity in our lives. If you listen to audiobooks, that is just as much as listening to a physical book. Whether you count it in terms of pages count or stories understood or whatever your metrics are in the world, the fact is once you finish an audiobook, you've read something. Like you've consumed this story. And at the end of the day, audiobook or physical book, once you finish that final page or listen to that final minute, you both understood the story, you both can go talk about the story. So I don't understand why audiobooks would ever be considered not books. Like, I can understand that there are some academic, scientific arguments that are pro and against that, saying that in some cases that listening to a book does not do the same thing for your brain as reading a book and all that stuff. But I don't think that anyone is particularly reading fantasy or sci-fi or mystery novels to gain academic knowledge. Like, we're reading because we enjoy reading. We are reading because we love the stories that are being told to us and we love being a part of these stories. Why at the end of the day would it matter whether or not audiobooks make a difference to us when we're here for the story? If we're here for the story, however we consume the story, we got the story at the end of the day. So I don't think it matters, to be honest with you guys. In terms of the pros and cons of reading versus audiobook, I think that there really is no pros and cons. I think it literally comes down to personal preference. And I think that's the entirety of the matter here. Like, forget the statistics, forget my personal opinions on the matter. It just comes down to what you guys want. Do you like listening to books? Would you rather spend an hour of your day sitting on the couch reading a book, or would you rather spend an hour of your day listening to a book while you're driving to work? You know what I mean? Like, it really comes down to personal preference. I am in both camps. I like to listen to audiobooks when I'm doing things that I physically cannot read a physical book at the time, and I like reading physical books just as much, if not a little bit more. So I'm in both camps on this, people. I really don't see a difference, and I think that the end result is all that matters here at the end of the day. You get the story, you get the story. It doesn't matter how you got it. So anyone who says, oh, that's not real reading, drop them. Drop them. Now, with that all being said, I'm curious on what your guys' thoughts are on the matter. I am like I've said 1.5 million times in this video, there is data out there that would say that listening to an audiobook is not as conducive for understanding the story or understanding the book as it would be to read the book. However, that aside, as I've just stipulated, it really all comes down to personal preference. What do you guys like doing? What do you guys enjoy doing? So, I'm interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the matter. Be sure to comment down below what are your guys' thoughts on this ongoing debate in the bookish world. Audiobooks versus books, which one is better, which one's worse? Is there a difference between the two of them? I don't know. Let me tell me your thoughts so we can continue the conversation down below. And with that all being said, I think that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for entertaining me while I went through this really random academic journey, and now I'm sharing it with you guys. But be sure to check out the journal articles down below, and while you're down there, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to reading your guys' comments down below. With that all being said, I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Bye.